It's September and that means only one thing. It's an Apple event month. Apple's GlowTime event took place on Monday and they had loads of exciting announcements about iPhone, AirPods and Apple Watch. In this summary, we'll go through all of Apple's announcements and take a look from an accessibility perspective. The first announcement from Tim and the gang was around the Apple Watch. There's no new Ultra 3 this year, but instead we're getting the Apple Watch Series 10. The Series 10 has a bigger display with 42 and 46mm respectively. Apple say that users will be able to see more text on screen at larger text sizes, which is great for people with sight loss. Apple also say that the new increased screen size on Apple Watch makes typing easier. And presumably there's also going to be more room for voiceover gestures. As well as the screen being bigger, it's also got improved display technology. The screen is now 40% brighter when viewed at an angle and can refresh once every second instead of once every minute when your wrist is down. This means we can have a seconds hand for the first time on the always-on display. Hooray! One of the new watch faces using this increased refresh rate is the Flux face. It's got really cool large text and has been designed to work with the colours of the new Apple Watch. Speaking of colours, Apple are introducing a number of new colours in this series of Apple Watch, including a new jet black option, which is perfect for going with everything really. While the screen is getting bigger, the rest of the Apple Watch is getting thinner, so it should be more comfortable. The speaker has shrunk, but apparently can still provide the same audio quality. You'll now be able to play music and podcasts directly on Apple Watch instead of needing AirPods. The Series 10 can charge faster than ever, charging to 80% in just 30 minutes. Like a rocket. Titanium replaces the stainless steel Apple Watch this year, with the new Titanium edition weighing 20% less than its stainless steel equivalent from last year. One of the biggest use cases for Apple Watch is its various health features. We've heard before on our Talking Technology podcast how the Apple Watch can be used during extreme endurance events. But in this generation, we're focusing on sleep. Apple Watch can track sleep already, but it's now going to be able to check for sleep apnea. All of this data is going to be stored in the Health app and you can export a report if you need to talk to a doctor. The depth sensor from the Apple Watch Ultra is making its way to the standard Series 10, and there's also a water temperature sensor, so the Apple Watch can tell if you're in a lovely warm pool or in the freezing cold sea. This data is now tracked as part of water-based workouts like swimming. That's all for Series 10, and there's no new Apple Watch Ultra this year. But Apple did manage to spend 5 whole minutes telling us that the Apple Watch Ultra 2 from last year is now available in a new colour. That's it, that's all the upgrades, it's a new colour. It's a dark black colour if you're interested. Next up, it's time to talk AirPods. I never expected to say this, but this was actually the highlight of the event for me. We start off with the new AirPods 4. They're now more comfortable, and Apple has made sure. They've studied thousands of ears, don't you know? Thousands of ears. The new charging case is smaller, and it's got a speaker now for Find My, which is a legitimately brilliant feature from the AirPods Pro last year. For those who want active noise cancelling with the open air design, there's now a second model of the AirPods 4. They've got transparency mode, as well as adaptive audio, and the really handy conversation awareness feature, which lowers the volume of content when you start to speak. Next up are AirPods Max, which are getting their first kind of upgrade since they launched in 2020. There are now new colour options available, and to comply with the laws of the European Union, they've now got USB-C as well. Other than that, it's the same expensive headphones as before. After the AirPods Max, we were onto the killer feature, which is actually an over-the-air update for the AirPods Pro 2. We're all exposed to lots of loud noises, so Apple is introducing an on-by-default ear protection feature that will reduce some loud environmental sounds to prevent damaging your ears. You can also now use the AirPods Pro 2 to take a hearing test in your Health app, which is a really cool and useful feature. It will be interesting to see how this works for voiceover users, because there's a lot of tapping the screen involved. The data from these hearing tests is stored on device and can be accessed via the Health app. And the big one. The AirPods Pro 2 are now officially hearing aids. Professional grade hearing aids according to Apple. If done well, this could be a game changer for those who are hard of hearing. Really cool stuff. Fair play, Apple. Next up was the event that everybody waits for, and that's the new iPhones. This year we're onto the iPhone 16, with there being a standard iPhone 16, 16 Plus, 16 Pro and 16 Pro Max. Let's start with the 16 and 16 Plus. There are a number of neon colours available for the iPhone 16, including blue, green and pink, with a white and black option also available. The screen is now brighter and goes up to 2000 nits, and it can also get darker, going down to just one single nit. The iPhone 16 has a 6.1 inch display and it's 6.7 on the 16 Plus. The 16 marks the first non-Pro iPhone to have an action button, with the customizable button replacing the mute switch. You can do all sorts of things with the action button, including activating some accessibility features, like zoom or voiceover. Do you use the action button? Tell us in the comments below. Apple showed off the action button controlling the calendar and turning on and off the flashlight. The iPhone 16 also gets a new camera control touch surface. You can press and swipe the camera control to perform different actions related to the camera, with it kind of acting like a shutter button from a more traditional camera. Apple is saying that the iPhone 16 is the first iPhone built from the ground up for Apple Intelligence, with the phone having lots of really intelligent features. Crucially, and this is a big one, it's got an improved Siri. You can learn more on this from our WWDC recap earlier this year, but in short, Siri is going to become more natural, relevant and personal, which all sounds great. In a move that could be great for people with sight loss, there's a new visual intelligence feature coming to the iPhone 16, accessed using the camera control. This basically seems like Apple is taking a load of visual AI apps and merging them together into their own feature. You could take a picture of a restaurant and get quick links to the menu, or perhaps you could take pictures of a poster for an event and find more details online, or take a picture of a dog to identify its breed. It will be interesting to see if visual intelligence can provide raw image descriptions in a similar way to Be My AI. If it can, this could be a real accessibility game changer. Time will tell. The feature can link in with third-party apps, so there is a lot of potential here. For all those photos you'll be taking, there's a 48 megapixel camera, which in itself is nuts, and there's now macro photography features, which can let you take pictures of things that are really close up. Who knows if this will help with OCR when really small text is close to the camera. Apple showed off the feature by photographing a frog and a mantis, but everybody knows text is cooler. It's a small detail, but the camera layout has now changed, with this being done to support spatial video, which will be viewable on Apple Vision Pro. Improved microphones and new intelligence features will help reduce wind noise in audio. And finally, it's faster. This is kind of a given at this point, but it's still great news for gamers and others who need those faster speeds. Right, let's move on to the 16 Pro and Pro Max. All of the features that we previously talked about for the 16 and 16 Plus are also making their way to the 16 Pro and Pro Max. But what makes a Pro a Pro? Well, there are some slight improvements. First off is the display. The screen for Pro and Pro Max come in at 6.3 and 6.9 inches respectively. That's a 0.2 inches increase from the standard editions. Apple stressed that they've achieved this while not significantly increasing the device's size. Both devices are powered by Apple's A18 Pro chip, which thanks to its 3nm process is going to be faster and more efficient. The Pro line has much better cameras than the standard, including a higher quality 48 megapixel camera. You can also choose from a number of photographic styles to make sure you get the right image. On the video front, things can now be shot in really slow motion. This flexibility for creatives can only be a good thing. There are also significant audio improvements, with some really cool features coming to the Voice Memos app. You can now layer tracks on top of each other. Is this AI-enhanced multi-track editing in Voice Memos? That wasn't on my bingo card, but it's pretty cool. There are lots of new audio presets, and Apple say the new iPhone 16 Pro has studio quality microphones, which sounds really impressive if true. For musicians or those recording in the field, this is going to be really, really cool. And that was it. That was Apple's GlowTime event. What do you think? Why not let us know your thoughts with a comment below, or send us a voice note for our Talking Technology podcast. The number you need is 353 86 199 0011. We'd love to hear from you. For now, thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to VI Labs for more accessible technology reviews, podcasts, and event recaps. See you soon.